let's start off by talking about the forming of the band, because you've been friends since childhood, but only started making music in 2015. Why so long, and who started the band?
The band was started by both of us. We both agreed. We kind of said, here, let's start a band. It was me who saw the video on Facebook of Ryan singing a song that he recorded on his iPhone. That's when I messaged him and said, do you want to do something together? And that's kind of how it started, really. There was no, it didn't feel like a band as such, but it did at the same time. It wasn't like your conventional get in a room and play together band. It was kind of like a let's work together and concentrate on songs.
All right, no, that's definitely interesting. But the other thing I want to mention too is I like the name Picture This. Who came up with that name?
This is Jimmy talking again. My brother actually came up with the name, and it wasn't anything to do with our band. He just told me it years ago, and I just remembered it, and I just said, here, this is a great name. It explains exactly what our music is like as well, so we stuck with it.
Okay, so I want you to elaborate on that. When you say it explains what your music is like, what do you mean by that?
I mean that our music is very expressive, and when you listen to it, you can really vividly paint imagery in your head to go along with it. They're very almost cinematic in kind of a way, and that's why we feel that our name, it's a very, very simple name, but it's also a very powerful name that a lot of people don't realize they're doing it when they're listening to music, but they're actually picturing stuff in their head, and I think that's why we called it that.
All right, no, I agree. I kind of like the band name. It's different. I enjoy your music videos. They're very unique as well. My favorite video recently has been, I guess, I think it's the Everything I Need. That song. I really like the kind of the fan base aspect of that video.
Yeah, thanks. We were playing, this is Ryan speaking, we were going to be playing like 5 nights at the Olympia Theatre here in Dublin, and we knew that there would be some great footage, and we just wanted to capture what our live show was like to be able to put it into a video, so we just got some, like one of Jimmy's other brothers filmed a lot of that, and a friend of ours, Ray, and another guy, what's his name again? Christian Tierney. So we just got them to come along and film everything, because obviously, I know every band says it, but the fans are genuinely the most important part to us, and it gives them a big part to play in a music video as well as us, and showed off our energy in our live shows also. Yeah,
I mean, looking at those videos, I kind of really wanted to be at those shows, because I was thinking, like, the band's obviously doing good. They have great music, but the crowd is really into it too, which is, that's what you want to be a part of, that whole atmosphere. I have individual questions for both of you. Let's start with Ryan first. What kind of drew you to the guitar and the vocals?
Well, I came to both very late in my life, I suppose, compared to a lot of other people. I didn't sing until I was 18, I think. Yeah, 18 was the first time I sang, which is like 4 years ago. So I was in school, and there wasn't a lot of subject choices that I liked, so I picked music to study for my final 2 years in school, and I couldn't play an instrument at the time, so I had no choice but to sing. So I just sang, and actually sang in front of my father, in my sitting room one night. I said, "I kind of sing for you," and he was a bit shocked, because I had no interest in music at all. Then I sang for him, and he said, "You can really sing," and that just kept happening. I kept showing people, I just kept singing for people, and they kept being like, "Jesus, you can really sing." And then I just I was finding it hard to be in control of how I was writing songs then, because other people were supplying the chords for the songs and stuff, because I couldn't play any instrument myself. So then I just picked up guitar, so it gave me even more control in the songwriting. But so I came late to both. I only picked up guitar when I was like 20 or 21. So it's all pretty new to me, but I had been writing poetry since I was like 7. It's like the earliest I remember. So I just kind of brought the poetry and made it songwriting. I just added it with the singing and the playing, and that's how they all ended up being married together in the end.
I guess it doesn't matter when you start to pick up the instrument as long as you can play it. And I mean, you do an awesome job at the guitar. You have a very distinct voice that a lot of my friends I've introduced the picture of this band to really enjoy. Now, for Jimmy, I want to ask you, what made you interested in the drums?
I don't really remember exactly what it was. I was very, very young. I was maybe 5 or 6 at the time, so I actually don't remember starting to play. But I do slightly remember I have a large family and they all play guitar and no one played drums, and they jokingly said, "Oh, I should start playing drums," and I just got interested in it. I could play some guitar, then I started playing the drums very, very young, and it was just more appealing to me. I don't really remember why, but I just stuck with it, and I've just been playing ever since.
No, I think that's it's interesting you mentioned that. So you basically come from a musical family, and they basically told you, "Hey, all the instruments are covered. You go off and play the drums."
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what happened, and what I'm always told is what happened. So yeah.
And now, for both of you, I guess, who are some of your influences growing up? Because, I mean, every artist has someone they look up to or try to idolize. So who were some of those for you guys?
For me, I kind of grew up inheriting my older brother's music and my parents to an extent as well. So I grew up listening to Oasis. Oasis were like literally, I exclusively only listened to Oasis from like the age of, I guess, 12, even before that, up until the age of like 15 or 16, and then I kind of found the Stone Roses and other iconic British bands from there, and hip hop music. I love rap music. I listened to Biggie Smalls for like exclusively Biggie Smalls for like 2 years of my life as well, and it would be a lyrical influence, although it mightn't be obvious. And then I like a lot of country music as well. And I know Jimmy does as well. So I like kind of the big iconic British bands like the Oasis and the Stone Roses and things like that. But then there is other kind of influence like hip hop. I just like music that's very direct and very real, and it's not very thought provoking really. It's just kind of in your face, which I think our music is as well. And just I love colloquial language, so listening to Biggie Smalls was great for me because I picked up a lot of language, and the same with a lot of American language, and the same with a lot of British language from listening to Oasis and the Stone Roses and stuff like that.
All right, and how about you, Jimmy?
Well, I kind of was, when I was growing up, when I was very young, I was listening to a lot of like heavier music, like Metallica. And like stuff like that. So I was heavily influenced by Metallica from my brothers, and from my sisters I was influenced by the Beatles and ABBA and stuff like that. And then when I started listening to music myself, I started listening to like New Found Glory and different artists like that. Then I found John Mayer, and then I just completely turned to pop music, and it was John Mayer, Ben Rector, and all these kind of singer-songwriter kind of bands, and Owl City as well. But like just now, it's just anything and everything. Lots of country music, lots of band music. Like I'm very big into just bandy kind of music, mainly. So yeah, that's kind of it at the moment. Anything on the radio that's good, I suppose.
I like those answers. I actually enjoyed Oasis. I like Owl City, and I like John Mayer. But have you guys watched the Oasis documentary?
Yeah, we have. We've watched it like 10 times. We love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Liam and Noel have two different kind of characteristics, but it's amazing that they, even with that, they made the band work. Now, I kind of want to relate that back because you guys seem to have a little bit of a different musical interest, but I mean, as long as you get along, that's the main thing, right?
Yeah, it is. I think the reason we actually get along, and I think Jimmy would agree with me, we've both said it a lot, is because we are so different as people. We are quite opposite people. Just even from the social circles we would have hung out in growing up, we weren't friends growing up. That's kind of a myth that is out there now. We knew of each other, but we weren't friends. We come from different social backgrounds. We had completely different interests, and And I think that's why we work so well together. And we're just very different as people, even just behavioural wise, I guess.
Take My Hand. It's one of my favorite songs, and you actually released it on my birthday. So it took me a year, though, before finding it. But explain how that song came to be. I know you mentioned about the whole iPhone, but I'm hoping you kind of mentioned what happened to it being so successful, about how they had to change the revenues. Can you kind of explain that?
Yeah, we can. See, what happened really was that we released that song out of nowhere in Ireland, and we had no management, no label, no nothing, and it got extremely popular on Facebook, just around our area for the first week, and then it started growing and growing out throughout the whole country. And it caught the attention of like everybody, all the industry, everyone caught attention of it, and like that song really kind of helped us. Like it kind of broke us out straight away, and it was an instant thing. Like the first night we put it up, it just blew up all over the place, and it was a very, like, to us, we knew that it was a good song, and like we were really excited about it because it sounded so good, and we were like, wow, this is really, really good, and people responded to it so well. It was on radio straight away, and then it was just the leading song for our album. Every song that came after Take My Hand was like, Take My Hand was the first ever song, so every song after that was after Take My Hand. So that's why the album Take My Hand is first, and that's kind of the first song people should hear if they're ever being introduced to Picture This. It should be Take My Hand, and the rest will follow. It is a very important song, and it's just amazing how that one song just completely catapulted us to a next level.
Now, of course, with saying that, you mentioned about your success in Ireland first, it's kind of hard sometimes to get exposure in other parts of the world, but people really enjoy Irish music and bands. Do you have a theory on why that is?
I think Irish people in general, which obviously feeds into bands then, are just great storytellers. We have been for hundreds of years, and even a lot of Irish traditional music is literally just kind of a story, kind of sang in a cappella. I think it's literally there's something about Irish people. We've so much culture and so much stories to tell that are just really, really great stories, and we're not afraid to kind of get lost and to be in love and stuff like that, which all makes for great songs. And I think that's why the rest of the world loves Irish music so much, and deservedly so.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I definitely get that vibe with some of the songs that you wrote or you write. For one that really stands out to me that I've kind of used it as a ringtone right now. I got the 95. That's one of the songs that I use as my ringtone. And when some of my friends hear it, they're saying like, "That's not on our radio station. Where'd you get that from?" And I'm thinking like, I send them the links, I send them all sorts of things, and then they'll come back to me a few days later and say, "They're actually a pretty decent band. Why aren't they more famous?" And I keep telling them, just wait, they'll get there. You also went. Yeah, or actually, I'll start with this one. So Niall Horan of One Direction tweeted about you guys, and you even joined him on some of his tour dates, including stops in Canada. So the first off, I want to ask is, what is it like getting his support?
That was crazy for us at the time when we first seen he tweeted us, because we were very young as a band. Like Niall has been a fan of the band since very early on. I know we are still only a young band, but it was like a year ago. He just tweeted us, and he was like, he DM'd me, I think, on Twitter, and he's just like, "You boys are class." His cousin showed us some of our music, and he was like, "You guys are great. I really love you." And he just followed us, and then myself and Jimmy kind of spoke to him just every now and again, just on Twitter, and then he offered us support slot in London and in Sweden, which was really great for us, and we got to know Niall really well, and we'd now consider him a friend, and we're very we love everything that Niall is doing at the minute, all of his music, and just seeing that the success he's having with such great music is great, and he's a great ally to have, and we're very proud to be associated with him in any way, and we're very thankful that he brought us on tour, and he's a really great guy as well.
Now, earlier in the year, you released the debut album. I guess I shouldn't say early in the year because it was only August of 2015, including some of the more amazing tunes like Savior, 95, Everything I Need. All amazing tunes. I've said that throughout this interview. So saying that, take me through the music process. Like, what do you look for when writing your songs?
Songs are written based on kind of moods. I'll just have it's very spontaneous. I don't go away and write a song. I've never done that. I never will, because I don't have that ability to just say, okay, I'm going to write a song today. It's just kind of, I pick up my guitar in my bedroom and just mess around, and then a song comes out, kind of lyrics, melody, and chords at the same time. And then it's just I send the song to Jimmy. Then we've had like a Facebook Messenger conversation going from that very first message we ever sent, when Jimmy first seen Take My Hand. And I just send the song to Jimmy, and Jimmy has his own studio, and then he'll create the song and make it into, add all the instruments into it and make the song into the kind of finished product it is. And then we'll come together at the end and just put the finishing touches on it. But it's a very separate writing process. We're never in the same room. And the songs, as I said, are just written based on moods, and they're lyrically always written in 5 to 10 minutes. And that's why they cut through with people, because they're very raw and they're not manufactured and they're not contrived, and it's not a big process. It's literally a song written in 5 minutes and then made into a bigger song by Jimmy.
That's awesome. I was just gonna mention this, and hopefully you take it as a compliment. But it seems like you have almost like the Noel Gallagher approach of how to write music. Because I remember watching the Oasis documentary, and they said, I can't remember the situation at hand, but the band went out for a night or about like a half hour, and then when they came back, he had already 2 songs written.
Yeah,
that's Ryan.
Yeah,
Ryan has done that on many occasions.
Yeah. There's a song called Difference on our album, which that was exactly the case. We were in Nashville actually recording our album, but we had all our songs written for the album. But the lads, Jimmy and then Owen and Cliff, who were our bandmates, they I think they all went bowling or something. I didn't go. No, they went for a drive down the bottom of the road just to drive around and see what the place looked like, and they came back, and I think they were gone for 10 minutes or whatever, and I had our song Difference written. So that's the exact same situation there with that.
Okay. I've got 2 more last questions. One of them is, are you guys big sports fans? Tell us some things that you enjoy outside of music.
Yeah, we are big sports fans. All I did for my whole life, as I said, I was never really interested in music. I just grew up playing soccer. That's all I was ever interested in. That's all I play. I just played soccer all the time. It's all I watched on TV. I played it on PlayStation. It's all I talked about with my friends. So soccer and women kind of was all I was interested in. When I was like 17, 18. When I always had a slight interest in music, just no more than anybody else. And I played our national sport, Gaelic, GAA. I played a lot of GAA growing up as well. And I love boxing. I've never boxed myself, but it's a sport that I love.
Okay. I mean that's definitely interesting. And what about the other one that I'm going to mention too is, now you've come far in the past 2 years. Where do you see yourself at this time next year?
Ooh, that's kind of that's difficult to answer. Like last year when we were asked the same question, we would have said like we hope to be doing what we are doing now. So it's just funny how it actually has happened. But for us, like next year, we want to be releasing new music. At this time next year, we want to have more music out. We want to have maybe another tour to look forward to. We just want to we want to keep doing what we're doing. We don't want to take a break from it. We want to just keep the ball rolling, and because we're enjoying it so much. We love releasing new music. We love doing all our social media and keeping our name fresh in people's heads. So I presume next year, with the way things are going, if we keep it going the way we're going, hopefully it'll be twice as big next year.
That's going to do it for this episode of Tobin Tonight. Our thanks to Ryan and Jimmy for coming on the show. Remember, you can find past, present, and future episodes on TobinTonight.com, Spotify, and iTunes. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and leave a comment or two. For Tobin and myself, this is Jacob saying thanks for listening and good night.